Claiming the undisputed top spot on Xbox Series X right now is Doom Eternal. You step back into the boots of the unstoppable Doomslayer and tear across Mars, Earth, and the depths of hell in the most aggressive, perfectly tuned single-player shooter ever made. The combat loop of switching weapons on the fly, using glory kills for health, chainsaw for ammo, and flame belch for armor feels like a violent ballet that never gets old. Levels are massive, multi-layered playgrounds packed with secrets, upgrades, rune challenges, and some of the most satisfying boss fights in the genre. Running at a rock-solid 60 FPS with ray tracing on Series X, every gib, blood splatter, and heavy metal riff from Mick Gordon hits harder than ever. If you want pure, unfiltered single-player FPS adrenaline in 2025, this is still the king. Sliding into the number 2 position is Titanfall 2, a campaign that many still call the greatest linear shooter story ever told. You play as Rifleman Jack Cooper, who inherits the Vanguard-class Titan BT-7274, and together you fight through a beautifully paced 6 to 8 hour adventure that constantly surprises. One minute you're wall running and sliding as a pilot, the next you're piloting a 20-foot mech dropping buildings on enemies. Levels like Effect and Cause with its time-shifting gadget and the factory assembly line sequence remain jaw-dropping years later. On Series X, it runs at 120 FPS with boosted resolution, making every grapple, double jump, and Titan execution feel buttery smooth, short, emotionally resonant, and mechanically perfect. Taking third place is Metro Exodus, the most atmospheric post-apocalyptic shooter you can play today. You control Artyom as he leads a train full of survivors across a nuclear-ravaged Russia in search of a new home. Semi-open regions like the Volga River, Caspian Desert, and Taiga Forest give you real freedom to explore, scavenge, and choose between stealth or loud approaches. Every bullet matters, gas mask filters run out, weapons jam if not maintained, and nighttime mutant hunts are genuinely terrifying. The Series X Enhanced Edition adds full ray-traced global illumination and 60 FPS, turning already gorgeous sunsets and snowstorms into visual masterpieces. A haunting, story-rich journey that feels completely alive. At number 4 sits Alan Wake 2, Remedy's survival horror masterpiece that somehow also delivers some of the most satisfying shooting of the year. You alternate between FBI agent Saga Anderson and the trapped writer Alan Wake himself, using a flashlight to burn away darkness before unloading revolvers and shotguns into possessed townsfolk. Combat has a rhythmic, almost musical flow, and the mind-placed detective board plus manuscript reality warping mechanics are brilliant. Running in quality mode on Series X with full path tracing, the Pacific Northwest forests and neon-drenched dark place look photorealistic. 20-plus hours of mind-bending narrative, collectibles, and live-action cutscenes make this one of the deepest single-player experiences available. Number 5 belongs to RoboCop, Rogue City, the best movie licensed game in decades. You are Alex Murphy, heavily stomping through old-school Detroit levels while delivering one-liners and Auto 9 justice in glorious slow motion. Environments are fully destructible, enemies fly apart in gory detail, and you can pick up TVs or cars to throw at punks when bullets aren't enough. Side investigations, public trust meters, and skill tree upgrades give surprising depth for a 12 to 15-hour campaign. On Series X, it holds a locked 60 FPS with excellent haptic feedback every time the Auto 9 barks. Pure power fantasy satisfaction wrapped in 80s cheese. Sixth place goes to Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and its surprisingly excellent single-player campaign. Set between the Cold War and modern day, you run Black Ops with Omni movement that lets you sprint, dive, and slide in any direction. Missions range from open-ended heists in casinos to underwater infiltration and massive set pieces in the Iraqi desert. Gunplay is the tightest it's ever been, and the story actually has meaningful branching choices this time. Series X pushes 120 FPS with ray-traced shadows, making every suppressed takedown look cinematic. 10 hours of pure blockbuster entertainment. Seventh is the System Shock Remake, a flawless update of the 1994 classic that feels completely modern on Series X. You wake up on Citadel Station to find rogue AI Shodan has turned the crew into cyborg mutants. Explore non-linear decks, hack security, recycle junk into ammo, and manage a proper inventory Tetris system while fighting with pipes, laser rapiers, and magnum pistols. It runs 60 FPS with rebuilt lighting and textures, yet keeps the creepy original soundtrack and voice performance intact. 15 to 20 hours of tense cerebral immersion. Eighth spot burns bright with Atomic Heart, the wild Soviet Bioshock-like shooter set in an alternate 1950s where robots went berserk. Your polymer glove lets you freeze, electrocute, telekinetically throw enemies, and rip parts off for ammo on the fly. Levels swing from lush outdoor facilities to bizarre underground testing zones filled with psychotic machines. Series X delivers 60 FPS with ray-traced reflections on every chrome surface and lush particle effects, 20 hours of unhinged combat, dark humor, and jaw-dropping visuals. Ninth place is claimed by Immortals of Aveum, the magic FPS that plays like Call of Duty but with spells instead of guns. Control 3 colors of magic, blue for rapid fire, red for heavy blasts, green for crowd control, while dashing and blinking around arenas. The 25-hour campaign, huge boss fights, gear progression, and skill trees keep it fresh the whole way. On Series X, you can choose between gorgeous 60 FPS fidelity mode or blazing 100 FPS performance, a completely unique single-player shooter that deserves way more attention. 10th is Dying Light 2 Stay Human, now fully polished in 2025 with all updates and DLC. Free run across a massive decaying city where your parkour skill literally decides if you live or become zombie food when night falls. Choices change whole districts, adding or removing safe UV lights and zip lines. Combat is brutal and weighty. Dropkick infected off rooftops, craft flaming machetes, or finally unlock guns in New Game Plus. Series X runs it at 60 FPS with ray tracing and massive draw distances. Easily 40-60 hours of content if you explore everything. 11th belongs to Cyberpunk 2027 in its final 2025 form after the Phantom Liberty expansion and 2.2 overhaul. Night City has never looked or played better on Series X with full ray tracing, dense crowds, and overhauled driving. Gunplay, hacking, katana slicing, and vehicle combat all feel fantastic now. Multiple life paths, deep romance options, and some of the best side quests ever written give you 60 to 100 hours of story. A true redemption arc that turned a rocky launch into one of the best single-player worlds available. Rounding out the list at number 12 is The Outer Worlds 2, Obsidian's bigger, sharper, and funnier sequel that launched straight into Game Pass. First-person shooting has been completely rebuilt on Unreal Engine 5. Smooth sliding, dual-wielding, companion commands, and tactical slow motion feel great. Writing is peak Obsidian satire. Planets are gorgeous with lumen lighting on Series X, and your choices actually break or make entire colonies. 35 to 45 hours of hilarious dialogue, wild weapons, and meaningful consequences make this the perfect closer to the list.